United CEO and President Oscar Munoz is with me this morning in a Fox Business exclusive. Oscar, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you.
Why the business upgrade, and tell us a little about it. How expansive is this?
Well, it's very expansive, and it's, again, as you said, one of the biggest product transformations we've had in over a decade, and the timing is perfect. Our company is going through a bit of a revitalization, something we've needed, and we see a lot of energy in our employees, and this is a product that they can truly be proud of, and I think customers will really like, since they really helped us design the whole process.
A revitalization after consolidation, after lots of capacity in the sky. How would you characterize the business right now?
Well, it's not as robust as it has been. We are seeing, as you know, GDP is from a forecast of 2.9, and the start of the year has dropped almost to half of that. So we do watch that very closely. International is not as robust either, but you know, as always, there are cyclical points in all businesses, and we may be hitting a little bit of a bump, but still very strong.
Meanwhile, you had a boost from the price of oil. I mean, one of your biggest costs is oil, fuel, obviously, as well as labor expenses. What has the impact been from this drop-off that we've seen in the price of oil?
Well, over the course of the last couple of years, it's generated a ton of profits and cash for the airline industry as a whole, and so that's been very positive, and it's frankly allowed us to reinvest in the business in a significant way.
And in terms of the business traveler, is that where the business you would expect to see move higher, as opposed to, you know, vacationers?
You know what, leisure travel is always important, and obviously it's seasonal. The business traveler is the one we watch closely. So as, for instance, as energy drops, the energy business for us drops as well. And so the banking environment here in New York is pretty strong still. But again, it depends, and it is regional, and it is industry driven.
Talk to us about some of the issues that we've been really talking about in the headlines recently. Number one, the TSA issues. Long lines, you know, people getting guns through security. It's absolutely extraordinary. What are you seeing?
Well, what we're seeing is, like everyone else, is the long lines, and we've been working very closely with TSA and actually all the high levels of government. We've made some progress. There's been a lot more people and resources sent to TSA. We're working very closely at the airports with local TSA management and our management to affect, because at the end of the day, it's an operational issue, having the right people at the right place, and so we are very open to ideas that the government has if they are indeed helpful. Let me
ask you, you know, some people blame the airlines because they raised fees, right? I mean, you've got more fees on bags if you want to check more bags. Did you raise fees on bag checks?
We implemented bag fees.
Okay, so you implemented the bag fees. But some people say, look, all of these airlines, and it's not just United, all the airlines have implemented bag fees. They say, look, now more people are carrying more bags, and so that's creating the long lines.
Right. Well, listen, the bag fees and all that have been in place for some time, A. B, over the course of last summer, we had record amount of travelers, and we got through TSA lines fairly quickly. And so what has changed since then is some governmental changes in how they manage TSA that we have to sort of regroup and rework, because the number of people, the baggage fees and all that, it hasn't changed in some time.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, because those fees have been in place, and all of a sudden now we've got all these TSA problems, which continues to bring up the debate, should the TSA be privatized? Should a private company be running that?
Well, we need to do it better, and whether it's privatized or we work with the government, either way, the security issues when folks back up in lines is an even greater threat that we worry about.
Now, you mentioned the GDP, an economy that one of our guests earlier characterized as just bumping along the bottom. There's that you've got to deal with, obviously, from a business perspective, but there's also the issue of terrorism.
Sure.
Now, we've been reporting for the last couple of weeks that travel to Europe has slowed down because of this worry about terrorism. What are you seeing?
Well, we are seeing some softening, and ever since the tragic Brussels event, we've clearly seen some of that. As our seasonal summer program works up, we're actually not seeing as much of a drop-off since there, so we're hopeful, but still, at the end of the day, you do have that concern and issue always across the entire global state.
I mean, this is the time when you should be seeing bookings move higher, because people go to Europe in the summer, especially when you look at the dollar where it is.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So how do bookings look right now?
Bookings look slightly below normal.
Below normal, and that's all of the above because of the reasons we're talking about.
Sure.
Let me ask you about your expansion. Even though you're looking at this, you're expanding in Asia.
No, sure.
So the Asia travel, how would you characterize that?
Well, the Asia travel for us, again, we were the first into the major cities in Shanghai, Beijing. We're now going to secondary cities, and we're the first to do that. We are long on China. It's a terrific business market for us. It's expanding greatly, and anytime there's 1 billion people, there's people that are going to want to fly. They're going to want to fly on an airline, and that's why one of the things we invented this new Polaris product to make that travel even easier for folks.
Yeah, I was reading that one of the flights is the longest flight to Asia, right?
Sure.
Which is that, San Francisco to?
Well, we've got a new Singapore flight that's
that's the one.
so it's constantly changing, right?
That's right, it's the new Singapore flight. Now, international has obviously been a big moneymaker for the company. There's a story in the Wall Street Journal this morning, obviously, that United is among the airlines looking at acquiring Ivanka. Is that an opportunity in Latin America?
Avianca is one of our strong Star Alliance partners, and like we do with all our partners in Star Alliance, we're always constantly looking to strengthen our partnerships. In fact, Air China, as you mentioned, is one of our alliance partners, and that's what's allowed us to expand into those secondary cities and beyond.
Does it make more sense to actually out and out acquire the company rather than just having a Star Alliance partner?
With regards to alliance partners, no, we're always looking to strengthen our partnerships in different ways, and there's various different ways of doing that.
Oscar, let me ask you about this story earlier in the week, and that was the ceiling tiles from a plane fell off mid-flight. That same flight had to try to land twice. What can you tell us about that?
Really,
do you have any details in terms of?
There are no details other than.
That was pretty extraordinary, though.
Yes,
for a guy
absolutely.
like you who's been in this business for a long time.
Right. No. Listen, there are always issues that we have that have to deal with, but the point is to be safe and to have our professionals that deal with them in the most, again, professional way.
Is that partly due to aging fleets?
It depends. Certainly, an age does affect those issues. We have one of the youngest fleets in the industry, but certain aircraft, I mean, we have thousands of them that we fly, and so there is indeed every once in a while something that goes awry with all our airlines.
What a business, Oscar! Your leadership has been phenomenal, and you just returned to work in March after having a heart transplant.
That's right.
Welcome back.
No, thank you.
How did that go? Tell us about that transition.
Oh, listen. What brought me back is the great spirit of the United family. The outreach and outpouring of affection to me and my family was terrific, and that's the energy we're capturing so that we deliver a better, caring service to all our customers.
So going forward, what drives the business?
What always does, right? I mean, a good product, good schedules to different places, but beyond that, the great professionalism and pride of all our professionals, our flight attendants, our pilots, all our ground crews, our customer service agents. That's what's going to keep bringing you and others back to our business.
Has the consolidation strengthened that in terms of having more scale?
No, I think it has. I used to be in the railroad industry for a long time, and consolidation there over the many years, I think, did help the business and economic model. It allows us, again, to generate some funds that we can reinvest in the business. There's plenty of competition, truly, and I think all of that combined makes for a better product for customers.
There's still a lot of competition, a lot of capacity in the air. Do you think we'll see further consolidation in the business?
You know what? It's hard to say. There's always, as we all know, you never say never, but there is a lot of capacity out there, and eventually I think you'll see some more consolidation.
So what do you do as a company, seeing that growth is where it is on a country level, 2% in terms of the U.S. You've got to find growth and accelerate growth for investors, for obviously employees. How do you do it?
Well, a couple different ways, right? You got to grow with purpose, and that purpose is many: serving your customers, certainly making money for your investors. So there's a combination of variables that go into the place. And again, it's also important that if growth is not there to be had, that you're cautious about how you grow capacity, so you don't, in essence, affect the business in a negative way.
Oscar, good to have you on the program this morning.
Thank you.